Alright, morning everybody. Welcome to another round of coffee and questions. What are we going to talk about today? Let's talk about an easy to make, easy to use friction polish. One that will give you a better shine than the last couple of videos I did on waxes and using mineral oil and Watco and all of that. This is a different way, to do it, and it won't give you a super durable finish, but it'll give you a much shinier finish and another one that's fairly easy to maintain. It's called OB Shine Juice. It's all over the web on how to make it and how to use it, but they go into like a lot of depth and all that stuff, like the lac beetle and where shellac comes from. And I'm just going to do this real quick and easy for you. Get yourself a hobby bottle. You can buy these out at Harbor Freight, or I'll leave you a link below. You can get them on Amazon. And what I did here is I made 3 equal marks on here. Okay, you see that? And you see I already have some in there, and I'm going to explain to you how to make it. It's 1/3 alcohol, 1/3 boiled linseed oil, and 1/3 de-waxed shellac. Now, de-waxed, what I buy, because it's easier than making my own shellac, as I buy it from Zinseer. Okay, this is de-waxed. You have to be careful because a lot of them are not. But that's de-waxed shellac. Okay, so we mix it 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3, and I shake it up before I use it. Now, I use this piece of wood right here. I'm going to use as a demonstration. So let me give you a close-up. And on this side over here, this is unfinished. I sanded it. I sanded it up to 400. I didn't do a super good job, but I did well enough for this demonstration to show you what OB Shine Juice can do. So, you can put oil on your project first, like we did in the past videos, the Watco Danish oil. You can dry it off, put a couple of coats, dry it off, let it sit 24 hours, and then use this shine juice. Or you can just use the shine juice and you can do multiple coats. And the more coats you do, the better the shine gets to a certain point. Because each coat of shellac you put on there is going to kind of burn in like lacquer does to the previous coat. So, like if this is a piece of bare wood, this is the way I would do it. You can do it, with or without my way. But I'm just going to show you how I do it to make it easy. I get an old rag or old cloth t-shirt, something like that. You could even use a shop towel, depending on, how nice of a project you're doing. This is a piece of maple plywood that I had left over. I did use this in the previous demonstrations, and I'm going to use it in this one. And I'm going to show you how easy this is to do. So, okay, so I have my cloth, which is right here. Okay, and I'm just going to double and triple it up like this into like a pad. You have to remember to shake this. If you let it sit for any length of time, it starts to separate again. So each time you use it on the rag, shake it up. Okay, now for this is a little bit different than you would on a lathe, but I go ahead and I put a bunch of it on here. Just like that. Okay. Here's the wood, and now I go ahead and I apply it just like this. And I just keep doing this, keep rubbing it, and rub it a little quickly. Now somebody will say, oh, that's not a French, polish. No, it's not. It's just the way I do it. It's friction polish, yes. And the shellac will start to set up, the oil will penetrate, the alcohol will evaporate, and I can feel it right now getting a little harder, to scrub in. And I just keep doing this for a little while. Now that's my first coat of it. Now you can look at this and call it a sealer coat if you want to. And I'm going to let this set up, and then probably about 20-30 minutes I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to hit it with 4/0 steel wool. Now you don't have to do that. You can go ahead and apply the next coat if you want to. But I'm going to hit it with steel wool, so I'll be back in about 30 minutes, okay? Alright, I shut the garage door. It might look a little darker because the locusts were out there making a ton of noise. Okay, back to this. This is the first coat, right here. Now, what I would normally do, okay, this is my method. Like I said, you can just keep putting on coats. I have 4/0 steel wool, and I just gently go over this, very gently. And all that does is gets rid of all the nibs, all that stuff. And then I feel it, Yeah, it's nice and smooth, almost slick like glass. Okay. So then I turn around, I take a dry rag and I clean it off real good before I apply the next coat. Okay, and so here we go. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use the same cloth in a little bit of a different spot. This is my second coat of OB Shine Juice. And I just rub with the grain. You can do a swirl pattern if you go real fast and then come back, but I always end up doing mine, at least in the ending or somewhere there, with the grain. Okay, and this is the second coat, like I said, so I'm going to scrub this in for a few minutes. And I just keep scrubbing. This is the friction part of it, right? I can feel it tacking up while I'm doing this. It smells nice. I mean, you don't have smell-o-vision, I guess, so you can't smell it, but between the mixture, it's got a nice smell to it. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to let this sit. You don't have to. I always let things sit longer than they're supposed to. 30-45 minutes, I'll be back. We'll put the top coat on, and then we'll go from there. Now, the nice thing about using shellac and this linseed oil is if you let it dry 24-48 hours, you could actually go over the top of this with lacquer, varnish, whatever you want. Shellac tends to be compatible with almost everything. On this, I generally don't do that. I made a small table out of this maple plywood, and the way I finished it is after using this shine juice on there, because it's just going to be a decorative little end table in a house, so it's not going to get any wear and tear. Anyway, I put 3 coats of shine juice on there. I hit it very lightly, even on the 3rd coat with that 4/0 steel wool. I put a coat of Johnson's paste wax on there, and then I buffed the daylights out of it by hand. It looks absolutely beautiful. So that's another method, but you don't have to use the paste wax. It's what I chose to use. If you do, you can use whatever brand you want. There's Howard's, Johnson, whatever. I just happen to use and favor Johnson paste wax. I also favor Howard's, wax too, the orange wax. Anyway, see you in about 30-45 minutes. Okay, about 45 minutes has gone by, which is actually longer than I usually let things sit, but I've got multiple projects going on. So here it is. Now I'm going to hit it again very lightly with the steel wool, very lightly. I'm going to feel it, wipe it dry, and if you look at it in the light, it's hard to do this on camera. You can tilt it and look at it in the light. It's got a really nice looking finish on there already, but I'm going to put one more coat on. This will be like the top coat. So let's go ahead and let's do that now. Here's the OB Shine Juice. You get the rag down. A little bit goes a long way with this. Now, I can do this, there's nothing wrong, depending on how big. Now on the table, I did this in swirls like this because I want to make sure I'm filling all the little imperfections in the grain or anything else when you first start applying this. It's just the way that I do it. Some people make it into like a wad, a ball, and then they dab it and then they scuff it like this, and that's kind of French polishing, but I don't do it that way, I guess. And then the last, when I feel it tacking up, I come back with the grain like this a few times, just like that. And why does this mixture work so well? Because when you put the boiled linseed oil in it, oil will penetrate down into the wood, that's a plus. Shellac's going to dry real fast, alcohol evaporates. But the mixture gives you working time, to apply this by hand, so it's not going to set up on you like lightning quick, but you still have to work quickly with it. Alright, we're going to let this dry. Now the other thing I'll tell you while I'm letting this dry, when you make this mixture, at the end of the day, wherever you are, I take a Sharpie and I'll put like a little black dot. Even in this container and even with this top on here, the alcohol can still escape and evaporate. Now if I come out tomorrow or 4 days from now and I look at it and it's below that dot, I know to put just a little more alcohol in there. And you can see here, if you take a close look just from this sitting with a short length of time, it's starting to separate. That's the reason why The people will criticize using this OB Shine Juice. It works good if you use it correctly. Shake it each time you use it, cap it when you're done, mark it, add a little bit of alcohol to it. Now, one more thing while we're letting this dry that we can talk about. You can modify this mixture. Now, in this mixture, I mixed it a third, and then I probably put about another 4 to 5 cc's of shellac in. So I made it a little bit stronger with the shellac. So that's what works for me. Now you can add more alcohol, you could add less BLO, you can play around with this mixture, but the boilerplate generic mixture, which works totally fine, is a third, and a third. Alcohol, shellac, and BLO, which is boiled linseed oil. They're available at any hardware store. If not, I'm still going to leave the links below. I buy all my stuff off Amazon because then I don't got to worry. Like I said, it's always a matter of convenience for me. I go to work, I come home, it's here. I don't have to do a bunch of running around, and unless I desperately need it right then that day, it's just what I do. But the links will be below for any of the things, including the 4/0 steel wool. So here we go. This is it. I'll see you in about 30-45 minutes, and then all I'm going to do to this coat now when we come back is I'm going to just buff it with a cloth, just a dry cloth, real good, and then we'll look at it. And then after that, it'll be your decision if you want to apply wax or not. See you in a minute. Okay folks, I'm back. So here we go. Nice, shiny, just let it finish setting up, maybe a couple more minutes, whatever. Buff it with a dry cloth, you'll get a really nice shine to it, and then you can just leave it alone. So that's 3 coats. I'm going to try something different. I'm not going to steel wool at this time. Let me find a little container. I want to show you something that you actually can do yourself. Like I said, you can go down to Michael's, you can get that oil-based pigment paint. You can do a number of things, but what I would tell you, if you want to experiment, get yourself these little throwaway cups. I put a little bit of OB Shine Juice in there, not much, just a little tiny bit, okay? Alright, so now I use trans tint. Trans tint, like I've said in my videos, is not cheap, it's expensive. You can buy aniline dye, that's a powder. You can buy different dyes. I favor trans tint. I've had these same bottles for years because it only takes like a couple of drops to tone something. Now, this is a good way. I'm not going to dye the wood. If I did, I would have applied it on the wood. This is a way of applying it to the finish. Watch this. I'm going to just try this for the heck of it. Let's see. This is amber. I'm going to put maybe 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. That's a lot for this little tiny bit, but I thought we'd have a little bit of fun here. Take my junky screwdriver. I'm going to mix this up. And you know, you sit and you tell yourself, well, yeah, that's really nice. It's got a real pretty shine to it. I mean, it's really nice, but boy, I sure wish that wood had a little bit more color in it than it does. And so you say, well, I can remember on Handyman's video what he did. He just took another cloth, like right here. Alright, I'm going to dip it into this mixture that we just made. Here it is. Now, let's put this 4th coat on. Like I said, you don't have to, but let's have some fun for a minute. So I'm going to put this on just like this. And I'm just going to rub it in. Just like this till I feel it start to tack up, which it will any second because, like I said, shellac dries fast. Between the BLO and the alcohol gives you a little bit more working time. Okay, I can feel it tacking up. I'm going to stop. Look at that. Now, that's with 3 drops, which if I had to do this again, I mean, and I always experiment on scrap wood before I do a project. I'd cut this back to maybe 1 drop, 2 at the most, okay? That's how powerful this trans tint is. That's the reason why it's lasted me so long. It doesn't take much to tone something. I tone lacquer before I spray it. I just toned this to show you. Beautiful. You can change the color of the wood even during the finish. That's my point. I had somebody email me, I messed up. What'd you do? I applied this finish. It looks beautiful like you said. But I just wish it had a little bit more red in it. I told them, go online, buy Bordeaux red, or buy you know, one of these versions of red from Trans Tint or something like that. Then turn around mix just a little bit into one of these mixing cups. Apply it on a scrap piece of wood, take a look at it. He did, and he, played around. I guess he adjusted it or whatever, and it came out looking beautiful, because you don't have to do it on the first coat. It could be the fourth coat. This is the fourth coat. Look at that, right? Okay, I'm sure that there will be a lot of questions regarding these finishes. Finishing is a complex topic. You're going to have to drop me a comment below. Let me know if there's something else you'd like to see. We can get into it. We're going to skip the question and answers. I don't see much on the forum. So, the Home Handyman, I hope you click subscribe. I hope you keep following me and hit that notification bell. I try to get right to the point on these, but some of these are going to be a little bit longer than just these little quickie videos, because there are things to talk about, and especially when it comes to this stuff. These are the things in the application process that work for me, and I've played around with this over time. So when somebody says, oh, the friction polish that OB Shine Juice is a bunch of junk, it's crap. No, it's not. It's just not a super durable hard finish, but it's easy to maintain. You can always put another coat on downstream if it gets a little scuffy looking. You can take 4/0 steel wool to it and turn around and put 1 or 2 more coats over the top of it. There you go. Your choice on whether or not you want to wax it. All right. I hope you folks have a great weekend. I will see you again soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.